Welcome to Educom. In this biological classification, the first section is kingdom Manila. We have discussed about the five kingdom classification proposed by Whitaker. So we'll start with the kingdom Manila now. Coming to the topic, bacteria are the sole members of the kingdom Manila. They are the most abundant microorganisms. Earlier in five kingdom classification, we have kingdom Monera and Protista, fungi, plants, and also animals. So among these five, kingdom Monera contains prokaryotes. The rest, they all included eukaryotic cells. So coming in this, all the bacteria, they come under kingdom Monera. Bacteria are the most abundant microorganisms. Also, bacteria occurs almost everywhere. Hundreds of bacteria are present in a handful of soil because they are microorganisms. We can't see with our naked eye. They also live in extreme habitats such as hot springs, desert, snow, deep oceans, where very few other life forms can survive. Extreme habitats means like extreme hot, extreme cold, extreme deep. Deep means in deep ocean there is a high pressure, like in snow, low temperature. So at certain temperature the bacteria survives. So those bacteria, they comes under the kingdom Monera. Many of them live in or on other organisms as parasites also. Bacteria are grouped under four categories based on their shape: the spherical coccus and broad-shaped bacillus, comma-shaped bacteria called Vibrium, and the spiral called Spirillum. So we studied about this in cell unit of life, four different shapes of bacteria, and we have the same pictorial representation below here. You can see this is the cocci bacteria, bacillus rod-like, and the spirilla with flagella, Vibrio. So sometimes questions will be asked based on the images also. Okay, so we need to look at the images properly. So here these are the simple representation. So but in certain images they are complicated, different parts will be there. So we need to remember such drawings also. Though the bacterial structure is very simple, they are very complex in behavior. Complex means we might have studied in cell unit of life that the cell wall in bacteria is complicated or complex. Compared to many other organisms, bacteria as a group show most extensive metabolic diversity. Compared to many other organisms, bacteria as a group show the most extensive metabolic diversity. Means different kind of metabolisms, metabolic reaction. Some of the bacteria are autotrophic. Autotrophic means synthesizing their own food with the help of sun. Okay. They may be photosynthetic autotrophic or chemosynthetic autotrophic. Here autotrophic cell production first. Again in autotrophic we have a photosynthetic autotrophic, means synthesis of food with the help of sunlight, whereas chemosynthetic without sunlight. The vast majority of bacteria are heterotrophs. This is the important point. The vast majority of bacteria are heterotrophs. That is, they depend on other organisms or on dead organic matters for food. So kingdom Monera contains prokaryotes, and prokaryotes, they have very complex behavior. Their metabolic activity also very extensive, and all the bacteria, they are autotrophic, means photosynthetic autotrophic and also chemosynthetic autotrophic. Coming to next section, archaebacteria. These bacteria are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats such as extreme salty areas. So this is the first section in kingdom Monera. Till now we studied about the general properties of the bacteria. Now we'll be having independent group of bacteria like archaebacteria, these which are very special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats such as extreme salty areas, halophiles, hot springs, thermoacidophiles, and marshy areas like methanogens. Archaebacteria differs from other bacteria in having different cell wall structure, and this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme conditions. So their habitats includes extreme salty areas, hot springs like where the temperature is high and marshy areas like methanogens. So why, how they are surviving? Because they have a complex cell wall structure, which is the feature and is responsible for their survival in extreme hot, extreme conditions. Methanogens are present in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows and buffalo, and they are responsible for the production of methane biogas from the dung of these animals. We might have heard about biogas. Biogas is produced from cow dung. So you might have seen in villages where they collect the cow dung here from the village, and they take it to the biogas plant where they will use the dung is used in a biogas plant to generate methane gas. So methanogens means they are the kind of bacteria which are present in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows and buffaloes, and they are responsible for the production of methane gas from the dung of these animals. Coming to another type of bacteria, eubacteria. There are thousands of different eubacteria or true bacteria. This is another synonym word used for eubacteria. There are thousands of different eubacteria or true bacteria. They are characterized by the presence of a rigid cell wall, and if motile, a flagellum is present. The cyanobacteria, also referred to as blue-green algae, so they are represented as eubacteria also, and they are characterized by the presence of rigid cell, and if they are motile, they have a flagellum. The cyanobacteria, also referred to as blue-green algae, have chlorophyll alpha similar to green plants and are photosynthetic autotrophs. Okay, photosynthetic autotrophs because they contain a chlorophyll. The cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial, or filamentous, freshwater, marine, or terrestrial algae. Okay, the cyanobacteria, which are also called as blue-green algae. Okay, and they contain the chlorophyll A similar to green plants and or photosynthetic autotrophs. Here we have a filamentous blue-green algae. The cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial, or filamentous, freshwater or marine or terrestrial. The colonies are generally surrounded by a gelatinous sheath. They often form plumes in polluted water bodies. Some of these organisms can fix atmospheric nitrogen in specialized cells called heterocysts. So questions will be like, in which part of the eubacteria atmospheric nitrogen can be fixed? So it is heterocyst, and here it is there is a here in the drawing it is mentioned here. This is the heterocyst where they fix atmospheric nitrogen. Fixing atmospheric nitrogen. Okay. Chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates, nitrites, ammonia, and use the released energy for their ATP production. Chemosynthetic, photosynthetic. Here photosynthetic means they use light. Chemosynthetic, they use various inorganic substances which oxidizes. Okay, chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates, nitrites, and ammonia, and use the released energy for their ATP production. They play a great role in recycling nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, and sulfur. So here in photosynthetic bacteria, those bacteria, they fix atmospheric nitrogen in specialized cells called heterocysts. Like examples of the bacteria, Nostoc and Anabina. Okay, these two are the bacterial example. This is very important lines here which I am reading right now. Coming to chemosynthetic, they oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates, and ammonia, and use the release energy for the ATP production. And they play a great role, important role in recycling nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur. Coming to heterotrophic bacteria are most abundant in nature. The majority are important decomposers. Many of them have a significant impact on human affairs. They are helpful in making curd from milk, production of antibiotics, fixing nitrogen in legume and roots, etc. So, heterotrophic bacteria are the most abundant in nature. The majority of them are decomposer, and many of them have a significant impact on human affairs. Example you can take like human affairs means they are in relation with the human activities like making curd from milk, production of antibiotics in science field, and fixing nitrogen in legume roots, etc. Some are pathogens causing damage to human beings, crops, farm animals and pets. Cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker are well-known diseases caused by different bacteria. And bacteria reproduce mainly by fission. Sometimes under unfavorable condition they produce spores. They also reproduce by a sort of sexual reproduction by adopting a primitive type of DNA transfer from one bacterium to other bacteria. So here sexual reproduction occurs by the transfer of DNA from one bacterium to another bacterium. This is important line that I will highlight in the video so you can remember this one. So division in bacteria is through binary fission, this fission, and two cells are being formed here. We have a cell wall, cell membrane and the all other content inside a cell. And bacteria, they don't have a proper nucleus. The nucleus is not surrounded by any kind of membrane. The mycoplasma are organisms that completely lack a cell wall. There is no cell wall in mycoplasma, remember this. They are the smallest living cells known and can survive without oxygen. Many mycoplasma are pathogenic in animals and plants. The mycoplasma are the smallest living cells known and can survive without oxygen. We have studied about mycoplasma. We will study about mycoplasma in cell unit of life also. We have a few lines there where they are the smallest living cells. So we need to remember that point. The smallest living cells are from mycoplasma. Kingdom Protista. Single-celled eukaryotes are placed under Protista. Single-cell eukaryotes. Remember this. But the boundaries of this kingdom are not well defined. Means where exactly the bacteria are placed like that. So boundary means their properties are not constant. So the boundaries of the kingdom are not well defined. Which one? Kingdom Protista. What may be a photosynthetic protestant to one biologist may be a plant to another. In this book, we include chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans under Protista kingdom. So what comes under the Protista kingdom? Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime mold and protozoan. All these bacteria are considered under Protista. Members of Protista are primarily aquatic. Okay, they are primarily aquatic organisms. The kingdom forms a link with the others dealing with the plants, animals and fungi. So kingdom Protista, the organism which comes under Protista, they forms a link with other dealing with plants, animals and fungi. Being eukaryotes, the protestant cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. So in kingdom Monera, we do not have all this. So being a eukaryotes, the protestant cell body contains well-defined nucleus, means the nucleus is surrounded by a proper membrane, and also other membrane-bound organelles, whereas the membrane-bound organelles are completely absent in prokaryotic cell. Some have flagella or cilia. Flagella and cilia, they helps in the bacterial movement. Protists reproduce asexually and sexually by a process involving cell fusion and zygote formation. So, what is the mode of reproduction in protists? As they reproduce asexually and also sexually. Asexually is by cell fusion and also sexually by zygote formation. Coming to chrysophytes, this group includes diatoms and golden algae. This is also called desmids. They are found in fresh water as well as in marine environments. See here, the group includes diatoms and golden algae, that is desmids. They are found in fresh water and also in marine environments. So their living conditions are both fresh water and the marine environments. They are microscopic and float passively in water currents. Plankton, that is example. Most of them are photosynthetic. In diatoms, the cell wall form two thin overlapping shells. In diatom, the cell walls form two thin overlapping cells. Now this line is very important. Cell wall forms two thin overlapping shells in following bacteria. This will be the question. Okay, so it will be in chrysophytes. You should remember this. In diatom, the cell walls, chrysophytes includes diatoms and golden algae, these two organisms. So in diatoms, again the cell walls form two thin overlapping shells which fit together as in a soap box. The walls are embedded with silica and thus the walls are indestructible. Because their walls, they contain silica and thus the walls are indestructible, means they are not easily destroyable. Thus diatoms have left behind large amount of cell wall deposits in their habitat. This accumulation over billions of years is referred to as diatomaceous earth. So you might have heard about this word, and we will be learning about this mineral in chemistry also. So accumulation of the cell walls since billions of years, which is referred to as diatomaceous earth. Being gritty, this soil is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. Diatoms are the chief producers in the oceans because the chrysophytes include diatoms and golden algae, and also they are found in freshwater and also marine environments. So diatoms are the chief producers in the ocean. Coming to dinoflagellates, these organisms are mostly marine and photosynthetic. Photosynthetic means they autotrophic. We already discussed about autotrophic nutrition, all this. The photosynthetic bacteria, with the help of sunlight, they produce their own food. So these dinoflagella, these organisms are mostly marine and photosynthetic. They appear yellow, green, brown, blue or red depending on the main pigments present in their cells. So they look different colors based on the pigment which is present in their cells. The cell wall has stiff cellulose plates. This is an important line. The cell wall has stiff cellulose plates on the outer surface. Most of them have two flagella. One lies longitudinally and the other transversely in a furrow between the wall plates. Okay, most of them have two flagella. One lies longitudinally and the other transversely in a furrow between the wall plates. Very often, red dinoflagellates, example gonialox, undergo such rapid multiplication that they make the sea appear red tides. So red tides caused by, you can take the example gonialox. Okay, This is the example. Red tides occur due to the presence of red dinoflagellate. That is the example is there. Gonia lax. Okay. Toxins released by such large numbers may even kill other marine animals such as fish. Euglenoids, majority of them are freshwater organisms found in stagnant water. The euglenoids are present in stagnant water. Instead of cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle, which makes their body flexible. So here we can see in the image B, this is the euglena, and they have their outer instead of cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle, which makes their body flexible, and they too have a two flagella, a short and a long one. Though they are photosynthetic in the presence of sunlight, when deprived of sunlight, they behave like heterotrophs by predating on other small organisms. Okay, like that is heterotrophic nutrition. Interestingly, the pigments of euglenoids are identical to those present in higher plants. Like example, you can take euglena. Okay, they have pigments as of higher plants. Okay, primolds. Primolds are saprophytic protists. What are called saprophytic protists? These are the group of bacteria which releases enzymes into the surroundings that converts the organic matter into simpler forms so that they absorb the nutrition from that organic matter, that is, which convert into simpler substance. The body moves along decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. How they will engulf? By using the enzymes which they secrete and release into the outside. Under suitable conditions, they form an aggregation called plasmodium, which may grow and spread over several feet. See here, this line is very important. They form an aggregation called plasmodium, which may grow and spread over several feet. During unfavorable conditions, the plasmodium differentiate and forms fruiting bodies bearing spores at their tips. You can see in the image here. This is the image of the slime molds. The spores possess a true walls. They are extremely resistant and survive for many years, even under adverse conditions. The spores are dispersed by air currents. So this is about the slime molds. Coming to protozoans. All protozoans are heterotrophs. This is quite important. All protozoans are heterotrophs and live as predators or parasites. They are believed to be primitive relatives of animals. There are four major groups of protozoans: amoeboid protozoans, flagellated protozoans, ciliated protozoans, and sporozoans. Let's discuss about amoeboid protozoan. These organisms live in fresh water, seawater, and moist soils, and they move and capture their prey by putting out pseudopodia, false feet, as in amoeba. Marine forms have silica shells on their surface. Some of them, such as entamoeba, are parasites. So it is a general short description about amoeboid protozoans. They live in fresh water, seawater, and also moist soils, and they move and capture their prey by putting out pseudopodia, that is a false feet, as in amoeba. Amoeba is an example which capture the prey by using its pseudopodia. And marine forms have silica shells on their surface. Some of them, such as entamoeba, which are parasites. Coming to flagellated protozoans. The members of this group are either free living or parasites. They may be free living or parasites, and they have flagella. The parasitic forms cause diseases such as sleeping sickness, which is example is trypanosoma. Coming to ciliated protozoans, these are aquatic, actively moving organisms because of the presence of thousands of cilia. And regarding cilia and flagella, we will study the structure of flagella in cell unit of life, that is the unit number 3. They have a cavity called gullet, it can be called gullet also, that opens to the outside of the cell surface. The coordinate movement of rows of cilia cause the water laden with food to be stirred into the gullet. Example, paramecium. Cilia, we know it acts like a horse. We studied about this. We will also study about this in cell unit of life in the chapter, unit number 3. So, cilia are the small bristle-like structures, whereas flagellata, they are elongated structures which helps in cell movement. So here, the coordinate movement of rows of cilia causes the water-laden food to be stirred towards the gullet. So water around the liquid around the cell, it will push that into the gullet. Example, paramecium. Coming to sporozoans, this includes diverse organisms that have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycles. Which of the, see, this is a very important line. The sporozoans, they have infectious spore-like stage in their life cycles, whereas other protozoans, they don't have that stage. Sporozoans, they have. Okay, this includes the diverse organisms that have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. The most notorious is Plasmodium, which causes malaria. And many of us in India, we know about Plasmodium and also malaria, and we also study about this Plasmodium in our earlier classes also. The most notorious is the Plasmodium, which causes malaria, a disease which has a staggering effect on human populations. Okay, and with this we conclude this kingdom Protista. Next is kingdom fungi. Thank you.